mentioned this for too long, but for quite a few years, there are some very weird trolls that have been trying to post things under my name around the web. I don't post any comments on the web unless it's on my site or something since around 2008. And the reason is because I have all these fakers trying to pose as myself and they use my name. And what they do is they try to curse people I know under my name and try to create these fake frictions, basically creating fights uh, between me and some other bloggers and trying to incite people against me. That's been happening for quite a few years. Now, another type of troll, which is up today, is they basically post things on my name, all kinds of really nasty things like that I supposedly did to myself, and they plant it around the web and try to kind of seed it around all sorts of pages. So if a person kind of looks around my name, he might, it's probably not very visible, but yeah, they might find some weird kind of forum pages where I supposedly post things where it's basically not me, it's just somebody using my name and saying things about myself. That's the libelous troll. That's a type of troll that's kind of the troll that's breaking the law, basically, when pretending to be someone else and then posting derogatory. Basically, I don't really want to give specifics of the things they say, but they say very nasty things about, under my name, about myself. They try to say these things. They then link to these things as, supposed proof that I said, he said this and that. But what they link is what they planted around the web somewhere. And this is the worst kind of trolls. Actually, the worst type of trolls are the ones that try to call your bosses and try to get you fired, and the trolls try to threaten you or to scare you, and the type of troll that tries to make you feel like he's gonna wait outside your house and do things to you. And I know even very non-controversial people, very gentle people, even like Pamela in Grok they get these death threats as well. It's very unpleasant for people to get these things. That's the worst. I wouldn't call it a troll. That's just like stalker, and I don't know. It's borderline crime. Um,
It's a very sad indictment of the current internet.
yeah,
It's certainly. I mean, we had. I remember going back years now between the Amiga and the Atari ST. We had wars, as it were, flame wars, if you want to call them that. But they weren't anything like this. And now looking at it from sort of older eyes, it can be very hurtful, and people need to be aware that there are professional people out there that will go around insulting others and trying to cause problems between friends online. I've seen Roy being the subject of libelous remarks and impersonators, and it's obvious to me because I know him and I know how he posts, but to other people it may not be, and that's where the damage occurs. And people need to be aware this is not just unique to myself or Roy or to any other free and open source blogger. It can be anybody on the net, and I think it needs to be tackled, but how you do that is another matter.
yeah, I think people might say if you provoke people, they do that. But I should point out, I never talk to trolls, I never respond to them, I never engage with them, and I try not to give them attention or to. And basically, usually I use filters to try and remove any visibility of what they say because I don't feel tempted to respond to it. One of the best things you can do to avoid feeding the trolls is basically not to see what they post. If you don't see what they post, you don't feel tempted to say something back. But I don't talk to these people. It would be the case of like the person who talked to you like hundreds of times in a row, but you never respond to this person. The person carries on going. And that's showing you that it's not the question of how you cope with it. It's really the things you write, and it's your attitude, and it's your positions in certain subjects. If you advocate GNU/Linux, or if you criticize a Microsoft product, you don't have to go into fights with trolls. You don't pay attention to any of the trolls, but that's enough to get the trolls on your back and trying to do harm, basically. There is nothing you can do about it if you have certain positions. I suppose the best you can do is to basically either not be public or not say anything, or to say only positive things about everything. And I know lots of people who are doing pretty well in media. They always try to say positive things, and if there is something negative they want to say, they just won't say it. They just basically say, well, I don't have anything to say about that. And especially people like leaders of in politics or in any field of science, they don't really want to be seen as anti anything. They want to just be proponents of something, which isn't always in my opinion, the best way to expose weakness in the opponent's arguments. You cannot expose a weakness in an opponent's argument too well. If you just talk about your product having something, you cannot very much expose the fact that Windows Phone doesn't have copy and paste by just saying, well, Android has copy and paste, and some phones don't have that. Well, but you don't actually name any of the phones that don't have that. And suppose you're not even supposed to talk about other phones, you're just supposed to talk about what's in this phone. But what I'm saying is, every time you say something that's not positive about anything, there is somebody working on this thing who won't be happy about that, or there will be a shareholder or a user of this thing who will take it personally. And it's the same in all kinds of issues, in politics, in religion. And you have to decide whether you want to be the person to say these things, or whether you want to be the very non-controversial type. And I think I quite unfairly get described as controversial, even though I don't use any strong words, and people who read the things I write will see that I don't use strong words. I just do try to give the information. But I say things about things that other people are not willing to write or to cover, because, like you said, when you post something, you can feel lots of people will be offended by it and will post something in response, even if it's true. You kind of know what's controversial based on previous things. And you also know that you have this part of you that self-censorship basically tells you don't say that, people don't like to hear this thing. And sometimes you have to ask, but hold on a second, if nobody's going to go past these barriers, nobody's ever going to say these things. And I think that once you're willing to say the things that other people are unwilling to say, you put yourself in this situation where you will get flamed by these group of probably should give specific examples, but maybe you have some that you can share with us.
I mean, I'm of the same opinion as you, not to give these people any publicity at all. In fact, funnily enough, the theme music for the TechBytes website, TechBytes audiocast, says exactly the same thing in the lyrics if you listen to the full track. No, I mean it's one of those things that if you start avoiding what you want to say because you're worried about what attacks you may get, then it's a form of censorship and it's wrong. And that's probably why I will go out my way to make sure I put my full view down without it being censored or toned down, because I really don't care anymore now what people say. We've got beyond that. But I mean, even this conversation that we're having now, I'm quite sure that next episode I'll be able to pull up about 7 or 8 quotes where people are misquoting it. I mean, the point I want to get over to people listening, because there'll be quite a few people who are thinking, trolls, what on earth are they? What's these? And the point is that challenge everything you read. I think is the first golden rule. Don't buy into any PR from anybody. Read as much as you can, because the only opinion that you should be agreeing with 100% is your own. And I think that goes for any subject on the internet, not just the computing. And at the end of the day, whilst there might be labels of controversial or all these type of labels that are given to people like myself or Roy, at the end of the day, we're talking about technology. We're not talking about world peace or nuclear weapons. We're talking about computers. We're talking about software. It's not. This is a subject which people do as a hobby, people have as a living, but it's not like world peace. And to take it to the extreme that some of these people do, I think is absolutely disgraceful, in my view. As a father, if I thought that my kids were behaving like some of these adults do, and I assume they're adults online, I'd be devastated, because the behaviour is absolutely atrocious. And I think the other rule, to go by is that obviously Roy, like he says, he posts only on his site unless he explicitly says on his site that he's posted elsewhere. So if you do see posts on other sites, other forums, take them with a pinch of salt if they've got Roy's name on. And